Hi everyone, Holly and Allison again, talking with you for Child Abuse Prevention Month. Today we're going to talk about disclosure that is a little bit different. So if you have a child and your child's friend tells them that they have been abused, and your child then tells you what their friend said, we want to talk about what you can do. Because at this point now, there's one child who's being abused that you want to help them. And also now your child has heard something that might be distressing to them. So how can you comfort them and how can you walk them through it? Allison is our child and family therapist. So she is an expert and she's going to walk us through what you can do as a parent if this situation happens.
Got it. Thank you, Holly. Hello, everyone. Once again, I'm Allison. So this situation, while it sounds kind of unique, is pretty common actually. And so just want to help you give some tips, tricks to kind of deal with this if this were to come out, especially as kids are returning to school. Now that, vaccines are available and all that good stuff. So one of the things that would come up is that hearing your child talk about their friend experiencing this horrible thing is, again, if the friend isn't present, you still want to treat your child very similarly to the way you would treat the child, the victim, like expressing or disclosing what happened. So when your child shares this with you, that this happened to their friend Tommy or Timmy or Jenny, you still want to get down to their level. Don't want to be intimidating. You want to meet them where they're at. You want to try to ask open-ended questions and then also give them permission to talk about it. So again, I'm so glad you're telling me about what happened to Timmy, Tommy, Jenny, whoever. Could you tell me more? Or, how did this conversation start, or things like that, just to get more information. The reason you need to get more information is, again, anyone can call the abuse hotline, the DCFS hotline, which again is 1-800-25-ABUSE. So as the mother of the friend who is the friend of the person who's been abused, you are a trusted adult. And so you do have the power and ability to step in and report something on that your child's friend's behalf. It doesn't have to be a mandated reporter all the time. Again, difference between mandated reporter and just another adult or trusted adult in a child's life is that I myself as a therapist am a mandated reporter. I'm mandated by law to report these things. Those people who are not in a mandated reporter position are not mandated by law, but they absolutely have the opportunity, the right to call DCFS hotline and say, hey, my kid told me this happened to their friend this, and they said it was done by this. And, I don't feel good about this. And I just felt like the authorities should be alerted. That can literally be your conversation. And DCFS is trained to kind of walk through of what information do they need to be able to go forward. So as a caregiver of a child who has a friend who's experiencing abuse, it's also important to reassure your child, just as you would reassure the child who's experienced abuse themselves, that they didn't do anything wrong. This isn't their fault. Something bad happened to them. They're not bad for talking about it. Help your child still figure out how they feel about it. Because I know that when I was a kid, if somebody came up to me and disclosed something like that, I'd be like, I don't even know what to do with that. And a lot of adults are stuck with like, I don't know what to do with that. And so the way out of that for anyone is to be with someone that they trust, someone that's safe, and having that person who's safe model for them. Well, sounds like that was pretty scary. What do you think? Or like, what were you feeling when your friend told you that? Or like, things like that, and have your child check in with themselves. Because again, your child's brain is developing, they are learning the language for emotions. And so helping them through that process instead of just providing an answer for them is really valuable. Again, when your child is telling you that, their friend has experienced abuse, try to stay aware of what you're feeling and try to remain as calm as possible. The reason for that is that, again, children operate, all of us actually operate through attachment and attunement. And a lot of attachment and attunement stuff is nonverbal. So if you start to internally freak out, which is totally appropriate and normal, and you don't kind of check that, and instead you just go with that feeling, what's going to happen is you're going to freak out your kid. And that's not, what happened was scary, what happened was bad, but your kid's not bad. And so we need to have a level of calm and awareness available to be able to make that distinction. Because if you don't explain that distinction to your kid is going to make a meaning out of it that they freak their parent out. And that's not the case. The child didn't freak the parent out, the situation did. And so it seems like splitting hairs, but it's actually really important for children. And it's really important for children to understand that. And then also it directly impacts how they recover from hearing about abuse, experiencing abuse, and so forth. Finally, just as the parent of a child who had a friend, just remember you don't have to have all the answers. We're here, we're available as a CAC. You can call us, you can ask us for advice on how do I move forward with this. The DCFS hotline has trained workers who also can answer your questions. And then, if your child starts asking you questions about what happened to Tommy, Timmy, and Jenny, you say that we can figure it out together, and really invite that kid continue to talk about it. If we've found that if you don't invite the kid to talk about it, usually they'll shut it down. And that's where you start seeing behaviors come out, maladaptive coping skills, things like that. And remember, something can be traumatic by association. So if this friend of your child is a very close friend, best friend, whatever, part of what makes it traumatic or possibly traumatic for your child is that learning about, hearing, witnessing something life-threatening happen to someone you care about. So just remember that as much as your child's friend is the victim, your child also deserves that same assurance, comfort, expression that this is not their fault and that you're grateful that they expressed whatever they did, and to have continued discussions about it. And if you need to, getting other people involved, like therapists, things like that.
Great. Thank you so much, Allison. I think that was super helpful. No one wants to think about abuse happening to their kid or their kid's friends, but it's really important that as parents, as teachers, as social workers, as friends, we know what we can do and say to support them. Mm-hmm. Next week, our video is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be talking about body safety and things that you can teach your kids so that they feel powerful and in control of their own bodies. So tune in next week. Thanks, everyone.